Elon and Trump sat together with Hannity for a joint interview that will air on Hannity's show on the Fox News channel this evening. They put out a clip previewing it. Take a look.
Now you're going to rescue astronauts. And now, and again, you do all of this. I would think liberals would love the fact that you have the biggest electric vehicle company in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be adored by the left, you know.
Yeah, not anymore.
Less so these days.
He killed that, huh?
I mean, less so.
I really did it.
Well, I mean, this whole sort of like, you know, they call it like Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah. And I didn't, you don't realize how real this is until like you can't reason with people. So like I was at a friend's birthday party in LA, just a birthday dinner, and it was like a nice, quiet dinner, and everyone was behaving normally. And then I happened to mention, this is before the election, like a month or two before, I happened to mention the president's name. And it was like they got shot with a dart in the jugular that contained like methamphetamine and rabies, okay? And they're like, wow! And I'm like, what is wrong? Like, guys, like, you can't have like a normal conversation. Yeah. And it's like they become completely irrational.
Okay. Nobody doubts that, right? That has the ring of truth. We all know that that's true. And he's not the only Democrat to, have people turn on him when he became more Trump adjacent or Trump, red-pilled, whatever. But now the Democrats, in this scramble to try to figure out how to respond, the AP indignation, they're downgrading, have come up with a master plan. There are more and more reports about how they're frustrated at the fact that Musk, for example, his Doge account has 4 million followers on X, and the Democrat, the DNC resistance, has 100,000. So it's not going well. Like they can't find a way of counterbalancing this very powerful team, but they've stumbled upon a possibility. It's just a possibility. We saw a preview of it at the Doge subcommittee meeting on Wednesday. I know you guys talked about this on your show. Here is Democrat Robert Garcia from California, ready to change the conversation. It's Hot 36.
Now, I find it ironic, of course, that our chairwoman, Congresswoman Green, is in charge of running this committee. Now, in the last Congress, Chairwoman Green literally showed a dick pic in our oversight congressional hearing. So I thought I'd bring one as well. Now, this, of course, we know is President Elon Musk. He's also the world's richest man. He was the biggest political donor in the last election. He has billions of dollars in conflicts of interest. And we know that he is leading a power grab, also abided by and encouraged by Donald Trump and, of course, the chairwoman, Congresswoman Green.
So he's showing for the listening audience a picture of just Elon Musk sitting there in a tux as this alleged dick pic. Real clever. So then he goes on CNN on Wednesday and gets asked about it and defends it. Watch.
I want to hear why, but do you think that calling Elon Musk a dick is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
Well, he is a dick.
Okay, I'm going to give you the floor, but I will just say, as a former cable news anchor, I would never utter that word on my show. It's one thing on this show, podcasting is, my show is rated explicit, where it's a much more less formal conversation. I would never have said that if I were her. I felt uncomfortable watching her do it. The whole thing made me uncomfortable, which I think is why it's ineffective. But what do you guys think?
We talked about this on our show. They're trying to get a piece of the spontaneous and sometimes obscene and sometimes off-color trolling style humor that exists on, the Trump side. But the whole point of that is that you can't script it. You can't do your normal shtick and just add the word dick to it and get more traffic that way. It's actually exponentially worse than what you were doing before, right? Because now you're just doing, it's the same old thing, but let's just add a useless obscenity that we ourselves look uncomfortable saying. It's one thing if it just comes right out of you as part of a spiel that rolls off the tongue. But if you have a staff of people in whatever committee room coming up with, let's just call him a dick, that tells me that their messaging, like that they have nothing left in the basket in terms of messaging ideas.
Rebels
exactly
and
right, Walter.
outsiders. Rebels and outsiders like the Trump administration and the people around Trump have access to a vocabulary of outrage and sometimes obscenity that they have to use back to fight back against authority. But when when the administration starts going after Animal House using the same language, it just looks ridiculous. It's like the U.S. cavalry picking up bows and arrows because it's been shot at by the Sioux warriors. And it says, I don't know how these things work, but they seem to be really good at killing people. Boing! They learn to say dick and learn to be convincing and sound like you're in a bar room. But when you're doing it from the cable desk, like you say, Megyn, all you're doing is lowering yourself. And they won by getting you to use the weapon of the outsider. And they did it badly.
That's exactly right. That's right. Had I been a cable news chair, I would have said a D pick, and the people would have understood. Yes. But you're right. When you in your like serious presentation are like, why did you feel it was important to call him a dick? It doesn't. Yes. Everyone's uncomfortable. Don't go there. But they're scrambling. This is Anna Navarro on The View, being open about the fact that they can't get there. So the messaging is everywhere, and she's unsatisfied with the resistance. It's SOT 18.
Democrats need to do, the opposition, the resistance, whatever you want to call the folks that are against everything that Donald Trump is doing. We need to have a way of reaching people, whether it's social media, whether it's a website, whether it's so that people can understand what is happening.
That's what they need is a website, Matt. If they could, first after the election, they're like, we need our own Joe Rogan. If only we could find a Democratic Joe Rogan. Totally not understanding that Joe Rogan has been a Democrat this entire time up until about 2 minutes ago. Now if we could just get like a website, but meanwhile they control all the websites.
Or maybe a blog. Maybe they should try getting a blog.
If only we controlled massive cable operations or broadcast news channels or wire services. What can we do?
The Democrats seem always to think that everything is a messaging problem. And if they just change a PR strategy, then it will change some kind of underlying reality that they're not in touch with. There was a great play by Joseph Heller, who is the author of Catch-22, called We Bombed the New Haven. And there was a character in it who says, we're going to bomb Constantinople off the map. And somebody else says, well, why don't we just bomb the map? And that's what they're always trying to do. They're trying to take the shortcut to actually connecting with voters or changing their policy or changing the actual political direction of what they do to gather more voters by changing the message. And they've done that so many times, not realizing that you have to actually make some kind of substantive offer to the people that's different than what you were doing before for them to take notice. Just like a different presentation doesn't change much.
Mm-hmm. But they can't, because they still misunderstand at every turn why Trump was found so appealing. We continue to face uncertainty when it comes to the economy, with a perfect storm brewing as Social Security and Medicare hit a breaking point, as the largest generation is hitting retirement. A smaller workforce means a smaller tax base. You pair that with our growing national debt and rising cost of living, and we could have a big problem. So what are you doing now to protect your family for the future? Gold can be a safe haven in hard economic times, and Birch Gold makes it easy to diversify a portion of your savings into physical gold. Birch Gold will help you transition an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold, and it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. Protect your future today. Text MK to 989898, get your free info kit on gold, and get a copy of the Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era, with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. There's no obligation, just information. Birch Gold has earned the trust of countless Americans looking to safeguard their savings. Just text my initials MK to the number 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.